Hello and welcome back to the Number 9 podcast with me, Alex Valenti.
And me, Guy Robson. This is the second time we've recorded this episode today because my girlfriend decided to FaceTime me during the recording and it just deleted the track. So if you're watching this, which I doubt you are because you don't like football, thanks Maggie. Anyways though,
We're back.
Let's go back to the top of our notes and start again. So we're back hopefully for the foreseeable now. I think it was quite a difficult time to start a podcast about Newcastle during
100%.
the World Cup, but now that's over, Christmas is over, Premier League games are back on.
New Year.
Yeah, there's a lot more to talk about. So I find it's quite hard to talk about something that's not really changing during like a drought period of a month.
It was difficult, wasn't it?
Definitely. But we've got Leicester times 2 to talk about. We've got Leeds, Arsenal, and unfortunately Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
But should we start off with the Leicester away game?
It was interesting, that game, because it wasn't the best I've ever seen us play, but we just completely overpowered them, and that early goal really finished them off.
Oh, 100%. I think as soon as that first goal went in, they were just completely left open for us. Got another one in straight away, and then another one at 30 minutes. And I think we kind of dropped off in the second half, but is there really any reason to keep going when you're 3-0 up? Just rest people for the next game. Exactly. I think
it was that Almiron goal for me. It was...
It's
been nominated for goal. It's been nominated for goal of the month.
You know, the thing is, they've nominated it and they've put the clip on, but they've missed Bruno's pass out
and the Megs and
that is what makes it goal of the month, in my opinion. The whole run up to the goal, the finish is a bang average Almiron finish, which I know is way better than a lot of players can do. Okay. But
it's the build up and
the 1-2 as well. Oh, it's gorgeous.
I was saying it to a couple of mates, and I was like, if you watched on Twitter and you saw PSG's game last night, and that was Neymar and Messi, you would not doubt it for a second.
No.
The close control to weaving out them defenders and slotting in the bottom corner was just
100%.
Beautiful.
It was amazing.
But it was a big win.
100%. I was really nervous for it, especially coming back after the Bournemouth game, which we didn't play too well, got the result, but I was really worried after that, thinking we'd lost our momentum, because Newcastle have always been a very momentum-based club. Yeah. But I think Leicester was just a breath of fresh air, just seeing us come back on fire again. But
yeah, agreed. It was nice to see though, because I thought sometimes we win and we might win 1-0 or 2-0, but it's been a little bit of time. Obviously, that's basically because of the World Cup since I've seen us win by a big scoreline, and we fully deserved them 3 points and the 3 goals against Leicester.
Oh, definitely. I think leading on to Leeds, very different feel of play. I was just saying when we recorded this the first time, Leeds standing up to us was quite similar to us standing up to Arsenal. I think them games were quite a parallel. Leeds definitely deserved the point.
Yeah, they did.
We had the chances, we can't execute a finish.
That's the thing with us. I think the reason we've got the best defence in the league shows a lot in terms of where we are on the league table. We don't concede many goals. However, it's very hit and miss with us scoring goals. A lot of them as well. I think with Isaac now back and fit, I think that could change. But I think with Maxman in the squad, out the squad, Wilson in the squad, out the squad with illness, I think we've been relying on the wide players, one wide player with Almiron, to get us all the goals. And his form, as much as I love him, isn't going to last forever to that level.
No.
So you've got to integrate other players into the team, and then you've got to find a way of scoring more goals for me.
I think, touch wood, Isak's injury was just a fluke.
Yeah.
Because if we have 2 strikers who cannot stay fit for more than 3 games, it's just not.
Yeah, and if you look back at
end well.
If you look back at Isaac's record in terms of injuries, it's not bad. So I just feel like it should be okay.
Have you seen the Alexander Isak Thierry Henry compilation?
Yeah.
It's class.
There is similarities in terms of how they play.
I think Isak's goals were nicer, in my opinion.
That's going to be nice. So
it was like the nutmeg and then just smashing it top right corner and falling over. That was absolutely beautiful. That was
Sweden,
for Sweden, yeah, it was gorgeous. I think it would have been a different story if he was playing in the Leeds game, because he can actually bury anything he's got in front of him. Unlike Chris Wood, he's confident on the ball. He's got the ball at his feet and his head's up. He knows where he's going to play it. It's doesn't seem tricky for him. It's a bit like Haaland. Haaland doesn't seem to find anything difficult, and that's what you need in a striker.
I think that's the only comparison you can make between Chris Wood and Erling Haaland. But
how shit Chris Wood is.
I think Erling Haaland with one leg is better than Chris Wood with two. So.
100%, man.
But yeah, it was a tough game, and it was the kind of game. It was very similar to the Palace game, which we were cheated out when that push from Tarek Mitchell should have been a goal. We should have won that game. But that Leeds game was very, very similar to the Bournemouth game, where that finished 0-0 as well. Or was it 1-1, sorry, where Isaac scored a penalty.
Something like that,
But that Bournemouth game and the Leeds game were very, very similar in terms of they played us exactly how we want teams now to go for us.
Well,
to a certain extent.
That leads straight on to Arsenal and the meltdown that occurred after that. I think the fans and the team of Arsenal really expected us to just bend over for them, just let them in and score. And we didn't do that. We did exactly what Leeds did against us. Played really well. 6 minutes in, we were a bit scared, because they just dominated. But I think when we made it 30 minutes, we just really started working hard and getting chances.
Grinded the result out, didn't we?
Yeah, Joe Linton had a few close calls. I think if we won that 1-0, it would have been even more of a meltdown, because I think it's the start of a new sort of Everton-Newcastle-esque rivalry.
Agreed. This could be one for the ages, it really could, because it's two teams who are...
I think we're quite a similar type of team.
Yeah, you could. I do see similarities between the two, and I don't mind Arsenal really as a club. I don't really like Man United, and I don't really like Liverpool or Everton. I don't mind Arsenal, but
I mean, we're both teams that have had some sort of hardship in the past 10 years. I mean, Arsenal obviously have done way better. They've never had a proper hardship time like us. 14 years of just dross, but still, you can see.
On a different level, they've had some hardship.
They have had hardship, and now both of us coming up and just being top flight teams again. There's going to be some sort of head clash.
Yeah, but it was a really hard fought shithouse result, and it's good to see that even when we have the technical players like Bruno and we've got Almiron and we've got Botman, we've got that link-up play, we can still grind out a result when we need to. And I think it's impressive.
Best player on the pitch against Arsenal was Botman. Absolutely.
He was phenomenal.
It's confidence. It's like something we haven't had for years and years and years. It's just a player that looks confident on the ball. Botman, he's cool, composed. Whenever the ball lands at his feet, he knows exactly what to do with it. And that's the same with Isak. We've had people like Daryl Janmaat.
Yeah.
Still got people like Murphy, just don't really seem. But I mean, I think we have had some good players.
We have had good, but just not to that level.
Not to the level we're starting to attract at the minute. A year on since we signed Trippier, I can't believe it's been a year.
It's incredible, isn't it? A year ago, yesterday, wasn't it? It was But then I was speaking to a few of my older mates and my dad, and he was saying, apart from Jonathan Woodgate on his day, Sven Botman is the best central defender he's seen at Newcastle United, and I think that speaks volumes for someone who's only been here a year.
Yeah,
not even that yet.
He's not even been here a year. He didn't see the vision at first, did he?
No.
That's my one little flaw about him. But I think watching people like Trippier come over and seeing how well we started doing, people are starting to see the vision a bit more. But I will always have respect for Trippier because he was the first person through the doors. He saw it straight away. He's almost like a manager on the pitch. Trippier. He's at every claim. He's got every player's back. He's class.
He's our captain, really, isn't he?
100%. Lascelles is not the captain.
He's not the captain. He's the club captain, but on the pitch, he's not on the pitch, so he's not the captain in my eyes. But no. I think we've got quite a lot of leaders in that team now.
I'm sorry, but how can you have a player who never plays as the club captain?
I know, but then
that's my one little flaw.
I see that, and I also see from another perspective, like when Ten Hag came into Man United, and there was talk about him changing captaincy from Harry Maguire and giving it to someone else. And when Ronaldo was chopping and changing with Bruno Fernandes, and it can lead to problems. So you might just be better off leaving it until he's gone and changing it.
Yeah, I do
rather
agree.
than causing a bit of uproar. Because as much as I respect Trippier, I don't think he's demanding to come in and I'm going to be the captain.
To be honest,
he's not the kind of player like
that.
To
be honest, yeah, that's a really good point. I know the fans want him to be captain, but Trippier's not the type of person to come in and strip Lascelles of that.
Yeah, he's an experienced player. He's not going to cause chaos.
No, definitely not. That's a really good point. I think also looking at the games we've played, we do have to look at the Sheffield game last night. A lot to say about it. There's the lineup, the circumstance. I think the standout point of that game is that we don't have squad depth. If a team that wants to be challenging for Champions League, I know we said we'd be happy with top 10, but at the minute we're challenging for Champions League. If we play a second team and lose to a League One side,
it speaks volumes.
It speaks volumes. When you were saying before, as I said when we recorded this the first time, that Man City have anyone who comes on the pitch for Man City is world class.
Yeah.
They don't bring someone in and take a step back.
We don't have that.
When we were playing against Arsenal, I was thinking we could score here. Like we could go 1-0 up. I don't know for how long, but then he brought Wood on, and I know Wilson needs to be rested for whatever, and he's been ill and that. But it feels like a step back. It's like
you feel like all your confidence in the team that they could score a goal and pinch it goes.
Yeah, and it's the same with Murphy. Like Willock will have a really good game, running up and down, absolutely knackers himself. Murphy comes on,
then you may as well keep Willock on.
You might as well keep a tired Willock on, exactly.
If I run through the team from last night, we had Dubravka in goal, which was surprising to see. I thought personally, I thought Karius might have got a game, and I thought Darlow potentially. I didn't expect Dubravka to just come back and go straight in. We played the back four of Lewis, Botman, Lascelles, Manquillo. We played a midfield three of Anderson, Longstaff and Joe Linton. And then we had an attack, a very, very strange attack of Murphy, Matt Ritchie and Alexander Isak.
Ritchie played well.
He did play really well. I think it showed that at that level he is a very good player against a team like that.
He was world class for a championship player. He was absolutely amazing, Matt Ritchie.
But then it also highlighted last night the shite that we have in our team, and the players like Jamal Lewis and Jacob Murphy who looked out of their depth last night. And looking out of their depth against a team second in League One is
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing for Newcastle and it's embarrassing for them, because as much I don't think Jamal Lewis will ever put on a Newcastle United shirt ever again.
No, but
when's he going to play? There's a crisis, and all our left backs, all our right backs tear the ACL, and he's the only player left. Apart from that, he's the only player that could play.
That's the thing. It's bad for him and it's bad for us. It's like we don't need a player like him, and he probably, with it being his job, wants a bit of game time. He deserves game time, and I just don't think he belongs in this club, because I think we need a bench that is just extensively used. We can have a different squad every week, keep everyone fit. Our problem is, I think it also kind of made a few issues with the linking between the players, is that we play the same squad week in, week out. Having a back four of Lewis and Manquillo with Botman and Lascelles, Botman hasn't played with those other three defenders.
Botman's now playing yesterday going, look this around me, I've only got Byrne, I've only got Shaw, I've only got Trippier.
He's got people he can trust around him.
And then he had Jamal Lewis, who couldn't trap a ball last night. And
I think just the whole difference in the squad. It's literally like Newcastle aren't playing. That is not our lineup.
No, yeah.
I don't see that as us losing because we didn't play our team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you do have to think, though, we've got a quarter-final in 3 days.
And it's only been a year
now
since we've had a takeover, and the change is incredible, but you can still see the fact that it's only been a year because we've only had 2 transfer windows.
Aye.
Now we're in the 3rd transfer window, and I just feel like you've got Botman there as a left centre half. He's a Champions League level player, and you've got Jamal Lewis next to him on the left, and he's a League One level player.
How come we've got, I think Botman's 21?
Yeah, 21,
we've got
22.
a player who is exceptional, like amazing at 21. He's a young lad, right? And then you've got Sean Longstaff,
that young Geordie lad
at like 26, and people still try and say he's a young lad. Botman is a young lad.
Yeah.
He's
Ellie Anderson's a young lad. Sean Longstaff is not a young Geordie lad anymore. He's Geordie. He's mediocre.
He's a lad.
He's a lad, yeah, technically. But he's just shit. He is. And he was another one last night who just went missing against a team like that. He should be passing and running rings around there.
One thing that did annoy me last night was the whole meltdown over San Maximin.
Agreed.
It just really feels like people want him out and they're looking for a reason to say he's leaving. It's like Cher didn't travel down, Wilson didn't travel down, Nick Pope didn't travel down. No one bats an eyelid when Wilson misses out on a game because of illness. It's just accepted, so why can't it be accepted for Maximin? I just think people are looking for reasons to think, oh, he's leaving. But why, when you watch Murphy play
week in, week out, shit,
would you still want Maximin to leave? He's leagues and leagues better. Even if Maximin just stays as a sub and comes on when we've improved our midfield, he's a good player. He fits in, he's changing, he's passing, he's like, there's been 2 instances where he's had a one-on-one and he's passed it, which is nothing like what he would have ever done a couple of years ago.
It's shown his growth already.
It's just a shame the ball landed at Chris Wood's feet. Oh mate, how can you say you're a striker and not be able to kick it anywhere near the goal? Fair enough if the keeper saved it or it hit the crossbar or just went anywhere close to the goal, but it was literally like Harry Kane's penalty.
Yeah, it was.
You can't call yourself a striker if you shoot worse than Fabian Schär, our centre back.
Yeah. And what I want to highlight is, I don't want to just talk about how bad we were. I want to also give some credit to them because they did do quite well. They played the 3 at the back and they played with width with their fullbacks, and I think that causes some.
I just think it was a bit embarrassing that their striker Windass,
Dean Windass,
class. He can just bury anything that lands his feet.
Yeah.
And our £25 million striker cannot hit the target.
What speaks volumes is, I think, if I did the poll on Twitter right now saying would you swap Dean Windass for Newcastle, I think, sorry, Josh Windass, his dad's Dean Windass. Josh Windass, if I swapped him would you swap him for Chris Wood? I think it would be an overwhelming yes. It would.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, saw his chance. Yes,
you do have the factors to consider that Chef Wed want it. They're a League One team with the chance of upsetting a top flight this year Premier League side. You've got that underdog syndrome type thing. I know you had was it Blythe Spartans in the FA Cup a few years ago? They got really far. And they're like a non-league team.
Bournemouth are a National League team, and they're still in it now.
It's that type of thing, and I think that is a really powerful mindset that those teams can have, and it does get to the big teams who try and sit back a bit and then get caught out by an overwhelmingly good side. And, I mean, Chef Wed didn't have much play on the ball, but when they did, it was quality, to be honest.
And what really, really frustrated me is going on Twitter and the Mackhams are already at it. Oh, we're in the FA Cup. And I'm looking at it, we beat them 5-0 last year. But they're also forgetting that they got knocked out the Carabao Cup by Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's that sad for them that they have to celebrate them small. It's not even a victory for them. It's just getting knocked out of the cup. It doesn't benefit them at all. It's embarrassing, but I just have to say, because it was really frustrating last night looking at them talking about that. But I guess that's why they're doing it. But
yeah,
Good luck for them in the Championship, I guess.
But I'm not going to dwell on it too much.
No.
It was... I don't know if Howe's even that bothered. We've got a quarter-final and we've got an important league run. I don't think it's worth adding another troublesome cup into a mixing pot. We've already got one cup to focus on. I don't think we really need to, especially this soon into our campaign as Newcastle now.
I thought last night stood out. I was watching Elliot Anderson and I really want them to do well, but when you watch them receive the ball in that league and stuff, and it's different because when I watched them come on in the Carabao Cup a few months ago, you could see he's like ready to come on and dictate play and run in behind. But last time when he was getting the ball, he was like receiving it and he's been caught and stuff. And
I think
he needs another load.
How old is he?
I think he's 19.
See, the thing is, I do really pity the quote unquote like wonder kids because they're so young that they're only like a year or two older than us, and they've got this pressure on them to play well in Premier League football, and if they don't do well, it's like, maybe he's not as good as we thought. But he's 19.
He's 19. Give him a chance.
He needs to play elsewhere.
He needs a loan. He does. And Howe says he's not sending him on loan, but
how is he going to get used to playing if he doesn't play? He needs game time. He needs to work his way up, and then when he comes back, he'll be ready, and then he'll be a wonder kid. But you cannot put that amount of pressure on him and then
just
be annoyed when he doesn't play as well.
But talk about the game on Tuesday.
Yeah, very excited. Scarves, Gallagher
We're
end.
both going in the Gallagher.
Oh, I'm buzzing. My first time
Both got
there.
scarves out.
I do have a bit of a curse though. Whenever I've got a good seat, we just don't score.
I hope it runs out tomorrow. So,
definitely.
I mean Tuesday. So, but it was just. It's such a massive game. It's the first we've been in this competition for a long time.
Long time, yeah.
It's
a winnable game.
It's a winnable game.
That's the thing.
And you can see a clear route to the final.
If we were coming up against City, I'd be nervous. I wouldn't be this confident. But seeing as though we've just demolished them 3-0, I think we'll just come back wanting more. Play a strong team.
And really give it to them.
100%. I hope to go first. Do you think Isak will play?
I don't think he'll start. I'll be surprised if he starts.
I hope he comes on.
I think he'll definitely be on the bench if all things go well. I think he only played 45 minutes yesterday.
45 minutes coming back though. 45 minutes is good. I thought he'd get 20 at the end.
He definitely should be able to play half an hour on.
100%. Even if hopefully we'll have Wilson and Isak in the squad together. We've never seen that before.
Yeah.
But if Wilson can play 60. Isak can play 30, that would be class for me.
Or even if you play, I think we've seen with Isak, he can play out wide as well. So if I'm Eddie Howe and I'm thinking, we're 1-1, 25 minutes left. Do I bring on Jacob Murphy or Alexander Isaac? Like, you've got to use your brain there. And if they're both fit, you can't bring on Jacob Murphy because he is horrific.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about this game after Tuesday though, because I'm absolutely buzzing for it.
We'll talk about it next week because it's a massive game and we'll start to get really excited for when this. There's already some fans booking hotels in London and stuff like
Adam
that.
P, absolutely on it. Got to respect him.
Yeah,
he's putting in the graft. Seeing the ladies team,
on it.
The lads and the ladies, he hasn't missed a game yet. It's absolutely class, to be honest.
The scarf's out on Tuesday. The flags are out. Under the lights at St James's, we've got a real chance to go for it.
What time is kick-off? Is it like
8:15, I think.
Oh, that's the best kick-off time.
Yeah, I love a nighttime game at St James's. It's always incredible.
Few pints at half time. Oh,
yeah,
lovely. I think we should finish off, since it's the January transfer window, with... It was your idea, I'm not going to take credit for it. With 2 players would sell, and 2 players would bring in. Regardless of price, to an extent.
To an extent, yeah.
I know FFP is a thing, and it's
a big thing for us.
But that's another quick thing. Why is that? There's always like a slight reminder of rules to people when we start to do well, like VAR. Newcastle did this.
Yeah.
FFP. Newcastle are doing this. Can you stop them? But it's never been an issue before. But I'm not going to go too much into it.
I just like to extend a little bit more on that because I'm always seeing Eddie Howe saying, we can't do this because of FFP, and I get that, and I know FFP's to do with the income that your club brings in as well, but how can Chelsea fork out 300 million every single summer transfer window and not get done for FFP.
I'm not going to lie, I'd never heard of FFP before we got taken over.
No, it's just interesting, isn't it? How
I never heard of it as an issue. I don't know if that's just because we'd never had to deal with it.
Yep.
Maybe it's a massive thing for City, but, no idea.
So the 2 players would sell this window and 2 players would like to bring in.
So I think it's pretty obvious. I've slagged them off a fair bit. Wood and Longstaff. Probably going to get a bit of stick for Longstaff, but I just think you don't have the excuse that he's a young lad. You can't say he's a young lad, he's going to improve. This should be the peak of his career. And yeah, fair enough, he has some good passes, he makes some good tackles, he's got a high work rate. But for every 1 step forward, it's 2 steps back. He'll make a good pass and he'll fumble too.
Yeah.
He'll make a good tackle and he'll lose the ball twice. You can't compete with that level of inconsistency.
You can't.
And I'm not saying he's a bad player, because he does good things.
He's not a bad player.
He's
really
inconsistent, and he must be having some blinders of training sessions to get first team starting every single week. Or again, that could just be showing the lack of depth we have in our squad.
Yeah, because when I was going through last night's the team that I thought would play last night in the cup against Sheffield, I think, we might play him, but then I'm thinking, in midfield, apart from the 3 we normally play, we have Elliot Anderson, and that is it.
We've got Shelby, who's injured still. Yeah.
And we've got, obviously, Target still injured, but it's just...
We just don't have depth in midfield. And that brings us on to who I'd buy. It's quite obvious. It was just... I know we probably won't get him now, but Maddison would have been a huge addition. He scores goals, he's forwards and back, he's got a good work rate as well. He's like a really good Sean Longstaff.
Yes. And there's idiots on Twitter who I'm always arguing with, and we shouldn't get rid of Sean Longstaff because he's a hard-working Geordie lad, and it's just I just don't understand it. Just because he's a Geordie lad, don't get me wrong, I want all these Geordie lads to come through the ranks and succeed and win trophies, but when they're not good enough, just because they're Geordie doesn't mean we should keep them in the team.
I know.
People are saying they wouldn't accept 100 million quid from. It's Sean Longstaff, man. And remember when they used to say he was better than Declan Rice?
Yeah.
I mean, I might have been guilty of that, watching him a few games under Benitez and going, wow, this lad's going to set the world alight.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was when he was a young player, and you were like, him and his brother are going to be wonder kids, and then they've just stayed at the same level, if not regressed.
It's a shame for Matty Longstaff. He's just done his ACL out for Colchester, and he's come back for rehab, so...
Wow.
It's good. It's not looking good for Matty, but with Sean, at least he is now a seasoned Premier League player, really, and he's a squad player, and I could understand your reason for selling him if we get a decent offer.
Yeah, and another person to bring in, I don't have too many contenders for it, but we definitely need a left back.
Yeah.
If Dan Burn, a centre back, is being picked over Matt Target, who is a left back, then clearly Howe doesn't believe in Matt Target. Yeah. He was class when he was on loan. I don't know if it's the loan thing where you want to impress the team because you prefer it and you want to come over, and now that he's here he's gotten comfortable, he's laid back a bit, but he just, I don't know, it's just a gap for me, to be honest. Left back, Dan Burn does way better in centre back, and if we had Dan Burn playing centre back every week, then we'll have more depth there automatically, because we've got Botman, Shez, centre back,
Dan Burn, Dummett's back now, who can also play. He's better centre half than full back, but he's not the best. But
yeah, that probably wraps up mine. This is as far as we got last time, so hopefully no one rings us. But do you want to give yours?
So for me, the 2 players I would sell, sell Jamal Lewis more for him than for us.
100%.
We're not going to get a big transfer fee for him, and I don't think we need one. Just let the lad go and play. He's not at our level.
Just for his career's sake, really.
I don't want his career to just end up in the reserves for Newcastle. It's not fair on him. Just get him gone, because we saw last night against the League One team, he's not that level.
I think we need a big clear out, to be honest.
There's lots of deadwood, isn't there?
Yeah, like Howe said, he's not too focused on immediate transfers because the team's strong, and I do agree with him. We've got a strong lineup, but it's not deep. We need more players. We need more players to cover injuries, stuff like that. But yeah, I completely agree.
And for the second player I would sell, I was tied between two, and the two were Ryan Fraser and Chris Wood.
Ooh, Ryan Fraser's a good one.
He's a good one, I think, because he's slowing down. He has never shown me really in Newcastle shirt why he should start. And
is this Ryan Fraser or Chris Wood?
Fraser, both really, but
I think Ryan Fraser had a little good spell, but he's been trumped by the people we've brought in. To be honest, it's the same thing. He deserves game time elsewhere before his career ends. He's got quite a few years left, but
I didn't go for Ryan Fraser in the end. I went for Chris Wood, and
no comment.
Yeah, but I like Chris Wood. He seems like a hard-working lad, but he's just appalling as a striker. He just offers no confidence.
Is it that he just doesn't suit our style of play, do you think? Because we play...
I think that could be it, yeah.
We play quite a counter-attacking thing. They push us and we need pace pushing forwards, and that's what he lacks. Maybe if we were constantly poaching, constantly sitting on the front foot, feeding in all the time for him,
crosses,
maybe then he'd have a better goal rate. A bit like he scored loads for Burnley. His record's absolutely amazing for Burnley. I think he scored 10 goals a season for 6 seasons or something like that, which not many strikers have done.
But he suited that kind of play, didn't he?
We've always been a team that sits on the back foot and pushes forwards and score.
Yeah,
it's always a counter attack or a set piece or something like that. But I definitely agree. I hate saying he's bad because I know that
I don't like slandering our players because
I think when I say a player's bad, I mean he doesn't fit in the squad. Would be a good player elsewhere, because Longstaff, he is a good player, but he doesn't fit in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Who would you bring in then?
So the two I've looked at to bring in, we've been linked with both of them. And the first one's a young Spanish fullback called Ivan Fresneda.
Isn't he only like 18?
18 years old. He starts in La Liga for Real Valladolid, and that team is owned by Fat Ronaldo.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he looks absolutely incredible. He's been linked with Milan, Juventus, Real Madrid. He came up through Madrid's ranking.
I'm pretty sure I haven't... his agents just pretty much marked him as sold.
Yeah,
that's how strongly linked we are.
They've said
bye to him and that as well.
For me, I've watched lots of clips on YouTube, and I've looked at a few of his scout reports that some people have put online, and he's almost an identical replacement for Kieran Trippier.
Do you reckon he could play left back as well? Or?
Yes, he has played left back before. I think he's more of a right back, but that's one of his best traits I've got wrote down here, is that he's very both-footed. And nowadays, with the way teams set up with inverted fullbacks like Cancelo at Man City, you see how important it is for players to be able to play with both feet.
Almiron.
Yeah. So, exactly. And this it shows you that there's a player there that could easily be slotted in. Is an up and coming player to replace Trippier, because as much as we love Trippier, he's 31, 32 this year.
It makes us sad, you know.
I think it's got a few years, but if you bring an 18-year-old lad who's pushing to start,
it's almost like a new generation coming in. It's like we'll have someone who can... Trippier can act as a role model to him as well. He can learn off Trippier and we'll basically have a carbon copy when Trippier gives out. What
I've wrote down about Fresneda here is he's a very quick player, and he reminds us of Trippier when he was younger, and he's a very similar style of player, possibly without the set pieces, because I don't think he hits them for Real Valladolid.
Yeah.
But what else I noticed is he's very physically impressive for his age at 18. A bit like Sven Botman. I think he's 6 foot tall, and he's very wide, and for someone that's got that kind of physique, and he's quite quick, it's impressive, and it shows you that he's very developed for his age, and I think he's ready now to take that step up to a bigger club. And I think that kind of player to bring in as a backup initially in order to then be a first teamer in years to come.
100%, yeah. Would you bring someone into midfield, or are you going for more of a attacking?
I was very tight here because there's a few players, and if you give me an option now of bringing anyone that we're linked with right now, I'll bring in Maddison. I agree with you there. Yeah. But
I just think it's better out of reach at the minute.
Yeah, I think he's a summer signing. I really do. And so who I have wrote down is more of a centre midfield out and out is Yuri Tielemans from Leicester, and with 6 months left on his contract, I think he completely solidifies the midfield. He's very, very similar to Bruno, probably not as technically gifted.
No.
However, he's incredibly progressive with the ball.
He's a good depth signing, in my opinion. I don't think he boosts us forwards too much.
No, but
he's on the same level.
He's a starter, a guaranteed starter, and
for Longstaff or someone like that.
And people are saying, "Oh, but his attitude and he's not performing for Leicester."
Well, that's why we've got Eddie Howe.
Of course, he's not. Joe Linton was playing as a striker for Steve Bruce, and he's now a centre midfielder, one of the best centre midfielders of the past year, I would say, in the Premier League. And I just think if we bring in someone the technical quality of Yuri Tielemans, I think it improves us massively. And I think what I've got written down here is the way we play with one centre midfielder sat right in the middle of the park, and the other two centre midfielders can almost operate as a winger.
Yeah, definitely.
And not as a winger, but
not Joe Linton, but like Bruno, definitely.
Yes, and what I've got written down here is that Joe Linton and Willock, at the minute, are operating further out wide, so they cut the passing lanes for the fullback. Because if you watch us against Arsenal, we were terrified of Saka on Burn, so we constantly had Joe Linton and Willock doubling up on Saka with Burn in order to stop it. And I think
it worked, to be honest.
With that, yeah, exactly. And I think with that, that's something Yuri Tielemans is very, very good at. And I think, as well as that, Tielemans can play in the middle. But for me, if we brought Tielemans in, my midfield three would be Joe Linton, Bruno, and Yuri Tielemans.
100%.
Because then it allows you to play Tielemans and Joe Linton as the left centre midfielder and right centre midfielder, where they've both played before. And it allows Bruno to play in the position I want him to play in the midfield of the park, dictating play.
Quick as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very, very
Keep
quick.
up with Willock and Alma on. I think that's also where we lack, because if we have Bruno in the middle, Joe Linton and Longstaff on each side, don't really have anyone too quick. Can't really keep up.
Longstaff
relying on Bruno.
Slow, Longstaff. So.
You have to rely on Bruno to do everything, and I think that takes a toll on Bruno, and it takes a toll on us, because Bruno's knackered.
And I think if you play that midfield three, you've got Bruno, who is the most technically gifted player I've seen ever at Newcastle.
Did you see him against Arsenal? With the flicks and that.
Yeah, and you've got Bruno there in midfield, you've got Tielemans, who's also very, very gifted, and you've got that hard-working powerhouse of Joe Linton up and down the pitch, and I think that's a perfect setup.
Right. I'm excited to see what we do. I think we'll start making signings about halfway through the month.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to rush
back
anything,
end.
but
definitely not. I think he's really biding his time with it. But
yeah, I agree. But
I think we'll have to
set us up for the finish of this podcast.
I think we'll have to make some notes on the game whilst we're there. Watch a few replays, and we'll have to feed back what we think.
Definitely, and we'll catch us next week.
Thank you for listening. Just make sure you follow and leave a rating wherever you watch it, and
follow all our socials. Number 9 Pod.
And if you've made it this far, thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.